Yes, yes, college football fans. Round one is now in the books. Now we prepare for round number two. And it kicks off tonight with a matchup, well, that could very well determine the national championship. Well, almost. You've got one quarterback out to prove he's just not along for the ride, and you've got another quarterback proving that he's not just a freshman sensation. Or maybe it's not just the guys around him. Either way, both of these quarterbacks must have their best on display for their team to win. Now, whether it's not committing the big turnover or making the big play and just running the game plan. Either way, I think one team understands what's at stake while the other is just hoping to prove they belong. These stories and more on this edition of Gridiron Gab Triple Option. In the 12 o'clock slate on New Year's Day, just 12 hours after the bell dongs on 2026, it'll probably be the most wide open matchup of the entire second round of the college football playoff. It's going to be the 12-1 Oregon Ducks facing off against the 12-1 Big 12 champ Red Raiders, Texas Tech. Now, this has some hometown implications, as a hometown boy here will be playing for the Texas Tech Red Raiders and arguably a key piece in defensive edge player Romello Height. Now, this may be contrary to what I'm about to say, but I've got some important news that was just released, is that Behren Morton is now officially out of his boot. So many of you don't know there was an injury that took place to Morton way back yonder, and he's kind of been nursing it the whole time. And needless to say, he's gutted it out. He's been all with it, and he's been playing through it. Now, I will tell you guys, the one issue I have had with this Texas Tech Red Raider Red Raider team has been the offense. Kind of gave myself away early on, didn't I? But you basically have two teams, kind of like with Ohio State and Miami going head-to-head. You've got arguably two teams that perform, their number ones go against one another, and that being Oregon's offense versus Texas Tech defense. The only way Oregon loses this game is unless they get impatient. I know a lot of you are going to say, wait, your hometown boy is on there. I'm a realist. But if Oregon is patient and don't try to go at this Texas Tech Raider defense overly aggressive, they can win this game, because I don't think Behren Morton and this Texas Tech offense can do enough. Now, I think Cameron Dickey's a good player. He's not an elite player. I think he and Jacoby Williams both get exposed in this game as being those type of players that are basically shown to be as good as the competition they play. I think Texas Tech is going to find out that trying to score head up as opposed to getting a ton of takeaways is going to be difficult. Do I think Oregon is going to be able to sustain that dangerous Texas Tech pass rush led by David Bailey, the considered first round pick, as well as Romello Height? I think at the end of it all, they're going to be able to maintain them enough to get done what they need to get done. Oregon wants to run the football. And we saw BYU have some success there. I think the issue when you look at what you see from the teams they played is that Texas Tech is so aggressive and they get at you so quickly. You want to be able to run the football, to slow down Bailey and Height, and be able to get out there and get at these guys on the perimeter in the secondary and make them have to tackle. You look at this secondary, and they've got a combined 16 interceptions. Now, when you look at how Dante Moore has performed this season, that leaves you for concern because Dante Moore, has thrown 8 interceptions. A lot of people say, well, that's not much, but he's thrown them in costly situations, and he has a propensity to force it. Height and Bailey will force you to get rid of it. And you cannot make mistakes against this Texas Tech defense and give this offense a short field. That's the thing a lot of people don't understand, is that this team gets a lot of short fields, and they've made a lot of field goals. Harrington's made 22 out of 27. He's made over 80% of his kicks. So they've got a very reliable kicking game. Whereas you've got Sappington for Oregon. He's 16 out of 19. His percentage is higher, but he's kicked fewer field goals. So he's 1 of 2 from 50 yards. And meanwhile, Harrington is 3 out of 4. And he's got a 58-yarder. So, if this turned into a game of kicking, I like the Red Raiders. However, Oregon is not patient. If they go out there and they're trying to do too much instead of playing within themselves, this game could get out of hand. I'm not afraid of Behren Morton. Now, do I think this offensive line for the Texas Tech Raiders is pretty good? Yeah, they got some big guys up front. I just think that Behren Morton, despite his 22-4, if y'all remember that, was the Utah game, I think it was this year, he was throwing the ball away. Was that Will Hammond? Was it Morton or Hammond? It was a game I remember that Morton was kind of throwing the ball around the yard, and it was just like, what are you doing? So, I mean, it looks like he's cleaned that up, but can't be for certain. This is a really good defense. And I think this is going to be one of those moments. Texas Tech's been sitting there for 2 weeks. And this defense is ready to go. They're ready to hit. And, probably one of the more exciting guys that everybody's been talking about in Jacob Rodriguez. I've heard people saying they're on FanDuel and all kinds of betting books saying he might get a turnover. He's the equivalent of Camp Scatterbo last year in this playoff, which, I'm going to go ahead and put in a plea right here. Why can't we have a player of the playoffs? Like an MVP caliber guy. And no, the requirements are he doesn't have to make it to the championship game, because I'm going to be honest with you. Scatterbo was the man. He was just that dang good in that playoff, and he played 1 game. But, they need to come up with a trophy for the playoff. You've got the Heisman Trophy. You need to have another one for the playoffs. Y'all agree with me? Leave your comments down below and say, yeah, I agree. But I am picking, this is a hard one because, like I said, I like Romello. I mean, the more I analyze it, the more I'm, subject to pick the Red Raiders. And I'm trying to go against Brad. I'm not trying to go with Brad. I'm trying to go against Brad. And Brad's sitting here, he's thinking, he's putting me on it. But then again, part of me is thinking Dante Moore and them are just going to go with the flow, let Romello and these guys wear themselves out. And, yeah, I think Texas Tech keeps it close. And I think Dante Moore has a last-minute drive that wins it for him. Much love to my boy Romello. I hope you guys play well. But my pick, I got to go with the Oregon Ducks. It's not going to be a blowout. Not going to be a blowout. Definitely not. I think Oregon wins this game off of a last-second mistake by the Texas Tech offense, not the defense. I think this game is close. Bailey and Height give Dante Moore all they can handle, but I think you're going to look up at the scoreboard, guys, and you're going to see Oregon's going to run the ball better than Texas Tech, but I think Texas Tech wins the time of possession. Now, I know a lot of you are going to say, well, how is it Oregon outruns them? I think Oregon's going to have more big run plays. I think you're going to see a lot of draws on third down instead of passes because of what Bailey and Height do. I think they're going to try to run the ball in between those big gaps that they're going to leave. And there are going to be times where they're going to get just enough to get a first down, or they're going to be times they're going to be just short, and it's going to do old Oregon style. Lanning is going to he's going to go for it. And they're going to get it. So, I know what a lot of you are going to say, but how is Texas Tech going to win the time of possession and how is they going to lose the time of possession but win rushing yards? Just like I said, Oregon's going to run up tempo. And I think Cameron Dickey is going to make some mistakes. You're going to see a lot of long sustainable drives because Texas Tech wants their guys fresh. They're going to want to sustain drives, and they're not going to go out there and try to run up this Oregon defense. They're not going to do that. They're going to try to force the offense of Oregon to make mistakes and shorten the field. That's what they're going to bank on. But I'm taking Oregon by a slim margin. I think Texas Tech covers in this game. But guys, let me know what you think about Oregon versus Texas Tech. Who do you think wins, and what do you think the spread is by? Once again, big gab out to Romello. Best of luck to you guys. Sorry guys, I couldn't take you. Guys, let me know what you think about these. Who do you think is going to be the player of this game? Who do you think is going to state their claim as the big-time baller in this match? Hit me down in the comments. Make sure you check out my other 3 shows on this topic. Also, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification so you can get the other 3 shows that I have out on the college football second round matchups that's coming up New Year's Day. Make sure you go over to Facebook at Gridiron Gab Triple Option so you can keep up with the group as well as the page. And finally, go over to my Instagram at Mr. CeeLo so you can stay with me on all my shenanigans. I will be caught up during and in the near off season. But until the next time, same Gab channel, same Gab platform.